Hello, everybody. Spirit of 420 here because everything I do is so 420. And tonight we have the second part of Big Panda, Tiny Dragon. Tonight's section is titled Summer. So it just goes right in order, right? Excuse me. Spring, summer, autumn, winter, and then spring again, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure they actually come back to spring. And then there's the, yep. So spring, summer, autumn, winter, spring. And then there's an afterword. So, and we'll take, this one's a little bit longer than the other one. So we'll just take one section at a time. And then after this, I think I've already told you all the next book that we're going to be doing, like this one, the philosophical reading, is How to Hold a Cockroach. And then we'll be doing the sequel to Big Panda, Tiny Dragon, which is called The Journey. And I will tell you there's other books on the way. There's one that I'm going to start. It's an old book, one that's been around since, I think, the 60s, somewhere in there. And most people may know it by name, but it's called Remember, Be Here Now. So I thought that one really lends itself well to, literally that one's like, I can't remember how many pages, but you know, each show we could do like a page or two, because each page you could actually do a whole show on. I kid you not. When I say page, I'm talking about page of the core book. If you know the book, since I'm talking about it, I might as well show it to you. I'm sure most people have seen this book. And here I'll just go like this real quick so everybody can see it. I'm sure most people have seen this book. And if you look, you see here, this section here, that's called the core book. And we're going to get into it in a minute, but just to give you an idea, the bulk of the pages are like this. And I do have a digital copy to share, like the way that we've done here. But again, when you read a page of this, you'll really get what I mean by we could do a discussion on each page. And that might be the way we're going to do it. But for tonight, it is summer, and it is Big Panda, Tiny Dragon time. I hope everybody's having a wonderful end to the first full week of the new year. Today is the 7th, so it's exactly 1 weekend to the new year, and everybody had their first business week, and I hope everybody had as good a week as I feel like I had. I had a pretty terrific week ultimately, although I did have to do a lot of running around for my son, but that's okay. He wrecked his car, not his fault. It was the ice. I can't really say it's not his fault, but it was unavoidable. Let's just put it that way. In fact, what he did probably was the least of what he could have done, put it that way. So let's get right into it, shall we? get opened up here. So look at that. Panda's just bathing. That is definitely a summertime pic, right? Time doing nothing is never wasted. I think that's an essential that most people, I think a lot of people take that for granted. And what I mean by that is they don't quite realize that sometimes doing absolutely nothing is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Those are the times that you can meditate, focus, regain perspective, those type of things, if you will. I wish I had met you earlier, said Tiny Dragon, so we could have gone on even more adventures together. What is my purpose? Asked Tiny Dragon. Big Panda paused, then said, to sit on that stone and be with your friend. Just emphasizing what I said. And if you're not getting it, I mean, obviously, if you're talking about the stages of the year, what better time to do a whole bunch of nothing? Summertime. Right? I mean, you tell me, we literally gear, you can argue if you want, but we gear our entire world, or at least Americans and most of the civilized world gears their whole idea on that summertime is when you take a break, right? It's when the kids go on break, number one, for school. So teachers are off. And then it's when all the other professions say, hey, let's take the family on a vacation, right? So it is what it is. My head feels like this storm sometimes, said Tiny Dragon. If you really listen, said Big Panda, you can hear the raindrops splashing on the stone. It's possible to find a little peace even in a storm. Isn't that the truth? Although for me, not just the raindrops, I'll take it further. Watching a storm, particularly a thunderstorm, there's such great peace and tranquility when you see there's different types of lightning. I love all of it. The look of it, that is, I'm not happy if it does destruction, but it is there. So I love to see it. I love the stuff that goes across the sky that you don't even hear, but lights up the whole night. That's extremely peaceful. And then I also love the stuff that literally just for a split second, it's bright as hell before the thunder, right? And then it's just loud. There's something very beautiful about that. An elder dragon is a tiny dragon who never gave up. Look at that. That's cool. So I thought you could double click. Well, it doesn't work. Thought I could double click and enlarge that dragon picture, but I'm pretty sure you can see it. It's there. It's pretty clear, right? We have a long way to go, said Big Panda. Tiny Dragon grinned. Grandpa Dragon used to say, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a cup of tea. Every great task that we ever have accomplished all started at the smallest point. And that's a reality. You're a good listener, said Tiny Dragon. Listening has never landed me in trouble, replied Big Panda. Isn't that the truth? If you keep your mouth shut, you have a much better chance of staying out of trouble. That's just the simple ins and outs of it. I can't find the right place for this last branch, huffed Tiny Dragon. Big Panda chewed his bamboo thoughtfully. It's the imperfections that make it perfect. I particularly love that line because in my family, first of all, we have Cherokee Blackfoot in us. And one of the things that, as far as I know, I think it's all Native Americans, not just Cherokee Blackfoot, by the way. I think this is pretty much a solid thought throughout the whole Native American as a whole, right? And I think not just Native Americans, but Native South Americans. When I say Native Americans, I'm talking about all the Americans, South, North. Natives of any land, I think, pretty much have this belief. There is no such thing as perfect. So I know, and that's the belief that they all have. Now, how they all treat it is differently. I know that for a fact in Cherokee Blackfoot, when they make a project, and we do this in my family, but when we make a project, we make sure to put a small imperfection somewhere, whether it's a little nick here or a slash or, outside the lines, if it's a coloring or something along those lines. Either way, we make sure to put an imperfection, because the reality is that's what makes it perfect. You cannot obtain perfection. You will never obtain perfection. The moments that you think you do, you'll find something else, and it's really a lost cause. Ask any perfectionist. By the way, I'm a perfectionist, so I know this one for a fact. It's part of the reason why I've come to love the idea that, and I wasn't always this way when I was a kid, by the way. I've only come to this as a father raising children. They would really beat themselves up if it wasn't perfect. I'm like, look, man, that's part of it. Nobody's perfect. And even when they are perfect, even the most perfect, if you don't believe me, watch the Olympics next time. Like, what is it? Figure skating, right? Watch the figure skating. And you tell me if the top performance didn't have some small flaw somewhere. There's no flawless anything, right? You look at any painting long enough, you'll find a flaw. I guarantee the artist does. The best thing to have with tea, said Big Panda, is a good friend. I'm a smoker of Mary Jane, right? So it has always been my personal belief, and I'll take a little smoke break for this. Not that I don't mind smoking alone for the peace of mind, but smoking alone is the last thing I want to do. Now, I do it in the mornings when everybody's asleep and haven't woken up yet, and I do it maybe sometimes in the evening, or I do it on the show because I don't have the family here with me yet. That's coming. But the reality is, what makes marijuana such a great, I don't like to call it drug, such a great form of medicine, is the social aspect to it. Quite frankly, cocaine has the same thing. You will literally find a conversation, a strike up with your worst enemy if you guys do a fucking line together, right? But marijuana is meant, like, it's part of it. A lot of people will do cocaine by themselves. They're very greedy about it, right? But marijuana, you almost feel the opposite effect. Doing it by yourself sometimes. In fact, I know some people I don't even like to get high by myself. I can't get high by myself. I have no fun, right? So to me, a bowl by myself isn't a bowl. A bowl is meant to be smoked with a fellow stoner. And hopefully it's a stoner that is either matching you, or they're supplying the pot, or you're supplying the pot. It really doesn't matter. But either way, it's a shared thing. And that's what I mean. It doesn't matter if you pack the bowl. It doesn't matter if they pack the bowl. It doesn't matter if you went in on the bowl together, right? It's about sharing. I'm worried, said Tiny Dragon. I don't know what to... For just a moment, said Big Panda, stop, breathe, and listen to the wind in the bamboo. That one's just straight meditate. It's pretty straightforward and simple. If you see it a different way, then chat me up and say you're full of shit, dude. What are you doing? Asked Tiny Dragon. I have no idea, said Big Panda, but it's great fun. God, that I love. That one's literally like the beginning. I mean, it goes with the summertime deal, right? Like sometimes there is so much enjoyment, and it doesn't have to necessarily be that you got really stoned, although that can help you get there. But there's something about being so out of it that, you can be in a crowd. When I say that, you can be like a group of people, group of 5 people, right? Or even group of thousands. I've done this in a show, and you're just so lost in that moment that nobody can touch you. All I can say is that's one of those moments that, it's yours by yourself. And I know y'all know what I'm talking about. because you've probably been in that moment where somebody even maybe noticed it and they're like, dude, where are you? Yo, where are you? Hey, lady, whatever, man, female, it, them, she, whoever, yo, are you there? I have been gone so far that, and God, it was some of the best fun I've ever had. So let me just say this before some people are like, that doesn't make sense. I was so lost in the moment. And yes, I was high at the time and I was young, but I was just sitting there watching TV, right? Watching a movie and doing this, but on my leg, right? And I did it for so long that I rubbed the fucking skin. Do you understand how much you have to do that, how fast you have to do that, and how long you have to do that to literally rub your own skin away? Because I was only like 16 years old. But you know what? I still remember that because where I was, nobody could touch me. And I was in my own little world for like a good 20 minutes, right? It was one of the best times I ever had. And I have a scar on my leg to prove it. So, what are you going to do? I think it's hysterical and I'll never forget it. It was like I was doing what they called the pussy test back in my day with the eraser, right? Do you remember that? If you did the eraser, you had to erase your skin. That only took like seconds because that eraser does it quick, man. You get some heat quick there. But yeah, I did it. I took it further, but that's just because I was having such a stoned moment. If you seek happiness for others, you may find it for yourself. That one's simple. I will say this. I used to be, growing up, I was quite the taker. So at Christmas, I was the gift. I was the one that was looking forward to getting all the gifts. And I really didn't give a whole hell of a lot about what I had gotten for you or if I'd gotten anything for you, because most likely my parents had done it and put their name on it and said it was, or put my name on it and said it was from me after they said, hey, this is what you got for so-and-so, right? But I guess there's something to be said for allowing yourself to be that way when you're a child. I was always called selfish, self-centered, um, and all those things, right? Spoiled, absolutely spoiled. But what's funny is, as spoiled and self-centered and selfish as I was, look at who I've turned out to be, and look at the children, the kids, my offspring that I've raised. They share, they go out and give things, and because by the time I had kids, right, by the time I started to be a father and pass on the knowledge of what I've learned thus far, I had found the joy in giving was 5 times more. And that first Christmas, man, with the twins, oh, dude, like you really, in my personal opinion, fathers, mothers, they really get it, the moment that they hold their child, the difference, mothers start to get it when that baby is bouncing around in their belly because they've got this live being in there. But fathers really get it the first time they hold their child. The life change that has just taken place for you, right? Because you are beginning another life. And that first Christmas, watching the joy on their faces of, having new things in their hand, and the excitement that I felt each and every birthday, Christmas, um, Valentine. Like, I mean, when you're a parent, you find any excuse, quite honestly, to give a gift to your kid. Isn't that funny? Because of the joy that it brings them is more joy than every single Christmas altogether that I had for the first 18 years of gift getting. That first Christmas of gift giving was more than all those. Put it that way. The joy and the satisfaction you get from it is just immense. That's all I can say. Said Tiny Dragon, these might be the good old days that we'll look back on with great longing. In that case, said Big Panda, let's never stop making memories. Love needs no explanation. Isn't that the truth? I also believe that love should be unconditional if you have it for somebody, and the love for the world is unconditional. You just have to make sure to not leave yourself susceptible to people who don't love you back, right? It's really that simple. Didn't say it was easy. Come on. Everybody knows that rule. Just because something's simple doesn't mean it's easy. Together, we can do anything. And I know that this isn't the book, but I'll reference. That's why the bravest thing in the world ever asked was for help. Because once you have two, you're more powerful than one. And then if you ask for another, you're more powerful, and so on and so forth. And we've seen that. I mean, what the hell do you think armies are that end up ruling a world, right? Some people are like candles. They burn themselves out to create light for others. Well, I'm just going to say I feel like part of what happened with Skylar, because as I continue to move forward and continue to, and I loved how somebody put it recently. I'm never going to get over it. I'm never going to forget. Those things are not going to happen. Just with each day, I'm going to be able to handle it a little bit better, right? But he feels like one of those lights that burned out. You know, when I think of him, I try to think fondly of the old Def Leppard song. It's better to burn out than to fade away. Because he didn't fade away. He went out bright light, and his light is so bright that it's now burning for others afterwards, you know, which I think is pretty freaking cool. So I like this one. Uses for a leaf, number 17, a parasol and diner. Or dinner, I guess. In dinner, excuse me. I misread. Uses for a leaf, number 17, a parasol and dinner. Because I notice the little crap dude there eating whatever the hell that is. I think this is the last page coming up here for summer, by the way. Obviously not the last page of the book. Hurry up, Big Panda. We're going to be late. Big Panda sat down. I like to think I'm creating anticipation. You know, I'll never forget that the first time, and it's become like the golden rule. If you're the one early to a party, honestly, you've made a huge mistake. That's why parties that start at 10, you don't go till 12, and it's still just getting started. No shit. Because nobody shows up to a party on time, particularly in summer. This garden is beautiful, said Tiny Dragon. Big Panda nodded. And we only found it because we went the wrong way so many times. I can't tell you the number of great things that I found because I lost my way, particularly like little shops, nooks, places to smoke. Obviously, restaurants goes without saying. So many things I found when I got lost. You don't do much, said Tiny Dragon. I'm full of potential, said Big Panda with a yawn. And I believe is that it? Yeah, that's it. So the next page is autumn. Give you a little preview of autumn, and we'll stop there. You know, everybody is different. Everybody lives their life to their, ultimately to what is good for them, right? And I had a hard time for a long time realizing that the way I thought, like I said, I was self-centered. I was everything, just, neurotic as fuck. And some of my offspring are still suffering from that because it's more of a family trait. So it's just kind of passed down, and you have to each generation, starting with my grandfather, at least I know for a fact, has tried to lessen it as we move along, right? But the bloodline clearly has an issue, if you will, of neuroses and self-centeredness. So for the longest time, when I say I had a hard time, I truly, once I came to a certain viewpoint, and I always feel like I'm basing my viewpoint on common sense. If other people around me did not share that viewpoint, I would be blown away, and I would honestly think I would judge them for it in the simplest of terms. I wouldn't necessarily outwardly judge them, but I would talk down, or I would talk to them like shit. And I still sometimes, I'm not saying that I'm by any stretch have gotten over this. I still fight this to this day, right? But now most of the time I have come to the understanding that, it's an absurd thought to think that everybody is going to think the same way. Number one, that's why we have the world we have. Number two, to me, it's even more absurd to think that anybody actually is going to share your exact, like, each person is not just a fingerprint. We have fingerprints that are different, but there's no two people alike. You might have some people that are almost carbon copies, but they still have some differences. That's what makes us, each one of us, so special and unique. Everything that we are is incredibly different than every single person around us, right? Again, there might be some where we're like 95, maybe even 99. But when you think about 1% of you being different, that's still quite a lot. Still quite a lot. And even your best friend who you think, or your best lover who you think is just like you, they're not. Live with them if you haven't yet. Live with them and you'll find out real quickly just how different you are. With the summer theme, I thought I could look in here and bring a few more good lines, since we have and I'll go ahead and do this. We can remove that. We'll just go there. I outlast a smile. Yeah, how's everybody doing? You die with this fake fucking smile. Didn't mean to be rude, but it is a bit of a fake smile. So I was trying to find something kind of live livelihood, overcome obstacle tips. You know what? That feels like a good one. Dream the impossible dream feels very summary. Doesn't that feel summary to y'all? If it doesn't, then raise your hand. I might end up calling on you. So dream the impossible dream. I wanted to see, who we got in here. Well, here's one. I always love the anonymous, so let's start off with that one. A dream is in the mind of the believer and in the hands of the doer. You are not given a dream without being given the power to make it come true. Wow, that one's fucking awesome. There's not too, I'm sure that, well, if it's not here, then someone's, all right. Eleanor Roosevelt. Oh, you know what? Let's go with Walt Disney first. All our dreams can come true if we have the porridge, if we have the courage to pursue them. I was reading ahead. Walt Disney. Back to Eleanor. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. That is absolutely true. It's funny because when you're growing up, here's one, Barbara Bush. When you're growing up, people always tell you, dreaming is for whatever, what's the word I'm looking for the weak and weak-minded, and it's a waste of time to be dreaming and all that jazz. So I find it funny that when you look at it, most of the people who have been quite successful in this world absolutely believe in dreams. I have a couple more. Believe in something larger than yourself. Barbara Bush. I'm going to read this one and figure out if anybody knows who said it. As long as you're going to think anyway, think big. If anybody knows that, I'll give you a second, because I'm curious if anybody knows who said that before I tell the world, before I tell a few people that are here. I don't know a lot of these, but I do know Henry David Thoreau. So If you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now put the foundations under them. There's another throw in the beginning. If one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. That one is also Henry David Thoreau. By the way, as long as you're going to think anyway, think big. Donald Trump. I think it's funny because I know a lot of people who can't stand him. I remind people of this. Every villain is someone else's hero, which also makes every hero someone else's villain, the vice versa, right? And regardless of what people, because there's so many friends who hate him, and I'm like, dude, I'm over hating him because he is who he is, and he is just as important. When you come to believe what I have come to believe, and you come to, the reason I believe this is because of what I've learned, right? And once you learn this way of thinking, because I'm not trying to say that it's right or wrong, I'm just saying this is the way of thinking that I have now. Therefore, my understanding of the world is how everything is needed. The good, the bad, the ugly. It's all needed. It's part of the balance, right? I may not agree with the man's views, but he is just as important, unique, and special as anybody else on this planet, period. That's my belief. But just, for that same note, so is Biden. He's just as much. I don't believe in inequality. There's a song, I love the lyrics. It's I can't remember what song it is right now. I might go back and find it and share it on my Twitter. But I love it because there's the song goes something along the lines of this. There's some people that are so poor, or there's some people that are so there's some people that are so poor and lonely that all they have is their money. For those of you that think money spells success, that's not the reality. And for those of you that think if you don't have money, you're not special, that too is not the reality. Regardless of your station in life, regardless of your money in the bank, you are just as important as everybody else here, period. So, to blaze or not to blaze, there is no question. There is only to blaze or not to blaze. There is no question. There is only to get high in order to get by. I love all of you folks. Have a wonderful evening. I'll be back in a couple of days. I'll be doing a flick dick. I will be doing a flick dick investigation on the next episode. It is, or maybe the next one, either Monday or Wednesday, one of those. I'm going to watch this movie. It looks really good. And if anybody has already watched it, you can send me a message and tell me. But White Noise, it's a new Netflix release, and it has Adam Driver and a few other people, but mainly Adam Driver is the one that I noticed off the bat. It's by a very good director who has won some other awards and is kind of an up-and-comer. So I'm really interested to see because it looks like a dark comedy, and it looks good. I can't wait to see it. So I'm also watching Wednesday, but I doubt that one will be. That's like 8 episodes or 10 episodes or something. That'll probably be next week or something. Unless I just sit down and force feed myself Wednesday tomorrow. I doubt it. So, anyway. Oh, the goodness. That one really get me after all this. There we go. Anywho, so I hope all of you have a wonderful evening. Have a blessed evening. Have a blessed tomorrow. Have a great start to your week. I will be here Monday night again, and see you all then. Until then, remember to continue to get high in order to get by, and everything else will be on the fly. Peace.
You can't have my phone number unless we running up the digits. Let me meditate, I just need a couple minutes. Tryna low bomb me, my cojones to the big ass. Bitch, I get high. I ain't looking at the clock.